The Cotswolds. Home to some of Britain's most picturesque villages with rolling green hills and English charm, people return time and time again. On the outskirts of Charlbury, in the heart of the golden stone landscape, sits Banbury Hill Farm, better known as Cotswolds View. From here, the scenery is spectacular, showcasing the breathtaking views of the countryside. But this isn't just a view. It's a place to stay, eat, and to find peace. With its cafe, campsite, and holiday cottages, it's become a destination for families, walkers, and visitors looking for relaxation and contentment. But behind the idyllic scenes is a small and dedicated team working hard to keep everything running smoothly. At the heart of this small team is the Ford family. For them, Cotswolds View isn't just a business, it's a home. Will Ford, the third generational owner, now helps run the farm alongside his grandmother, Angela, who keeps a watchful eye over it all.
Thankfully, my grandparents, Angela and Graham, they had the foresight of thinking, they used to farm obviously themselves. My granddad was a bit of a contract farmer, and essentially they came to a time where the farm needed to think about a new source of revenue. So they looked at what they could do, and they thought, well, they've got all the farm buildings at the time, which obviously were all like the old hay barns and things like that. So they began to, first and foremost, they actually started having people in their house as a B&B. That's how it first started. And then they slowly transformed bit by bit, changing the piggery into more B&B rooms, the barns into holiday cottages. And then they also decided to actually sit down at the table and literally draw what they wanted to be a campsite, which is on the fields of the farm. So they decided to do that, and literally plotted where the trees would be, etc., and the road, and all the sort of things they needed to do, and then they went on to do it. And so this is somewhere you come to escape, get away, whether that's accommodation or just out for the day, going for a coffee at the cafe and walking around the forest. It's essentially a tourist destination now. A typical day here is pretty much, we come into work, obviously get the team, knowing what we're doing for the rest of the day. We will go off and do our bit, and whether that be, lawn mowing or reservations, housekeeping, it can be anything from being out on the grounds or being in the office or doing the boring homework that we've got to do. We are somewhere that is an option whether or not you come or not. So having, people having a bit more disposable income and things like that obviously massively helps us out. So one of the challenges, obviously, but it's a bit out of our control, is that sort of thing. But then, the other challenge we face is as simple as things like on the campsite, the weather. The weather's a big challenge for us. We obviously, like probably any other business, there's things out of our control, such as, the war going on overseas and political changes and policies that are all always changing. Things that affect us directly, like I said earlier on a little bit, was about the disposable income on people, and tougher times for everyone means less opportunities to go on holiday and spend the money on things they want to do. So that does affect us that way. And other ways, like you might not think, people forget that gas and electric and things like that are through the roof. We've had to sort of, I suppose, take those costs on the chin, which are never very nice. But at the end of the day, it's out of our control. We've just got to sort of manage it the best we can. Even as smaller things as the fuel prices to fuel the mowers on the campsite, as small as that, you see them going up and down on the campsite. Well, the costs this year are going to be more greater than last year because of the fuel costs to actually upkeep the site. So there's all little things like that really that people don't sometimes think about. Yeah, obviously I've grown up here, so I've seen quite a lot change over the years. I mean, even just as the last 10 years, there's been huge changes. I mean, for example, the transition has gone from being a shed to the cafe, and then obviously we've got the stretch tent and things like that going on. On the campsite, it's gone from pretty much all grass pitches to adding hard standings, then service pitches, moving with the times. And then obviously, I don't know if you've obviously seen, we've got the glamping, and we do the pods. They came because people demand different things, and we wanted to differentiate what we offer here. So we are a family business. There is a lot of campsites out there. There's a lot of holiday parks out there, and don't get me wrong, they serve a purpose, and certain people obviously have different expectations of sites, but ultimately we're a family business. People like that. They like the fact that when they come back next year, they see me again. They see my grandparents. They've seen how it's gone from my grandparents running the place to then my mum running the place, and then there's now the third generation coming in to help. It obviously makes me very proud of what they've done, and I suppose I want to continue doing that for them, and continue the legacy on. They've gone so far, and I suppose I want to be a part of that. So, that's I suppose why I'm so keen to stay involved with the family business. I've grown up here, and I'd hate for so I'm sure this sort of place would do very well as a private home for someone, and I'm sure based on where we are in the Cotswolds, someone would love this place to live on and settle down in. But unfortunately, for the time being, we will remain a campsite and a B&B holiday cottages and a cafe and more.
For many visitors, the first welcome comes from Amy Fuller, a familiar and friendly face who has been part of the team for 8 years.
I'm Amy Fuller. So in the morning I'm here, and then I might go cleaning, I might go mowing, I might go gardening. There's always something that needs to be done. There's always maintenance that needs to be done. There's always painting, there's always grass cutting or hedge cutting or digging or resurfacing of gravel tracks or woodland tracks or whatever. Or I'll go over the other side where the cafe is. I love it. You never have the same day twice. It doesn't matter where you are here, any time of year, you can always find some peace somewhere peaceful. Even if it's school holidays, even if it's pouring with rain or red hot sunshine, it's always nice and peaceful and clean and tidy. It is a great family, dog-friendly campsite.
The Old Shed Cafe, which opened in 2016, has become one of the farm's biggest draws, bringing people together over breakfast, lunch and homemade cake. Saskia, a university student, joined the cafe in 2024 and returns to work here whenever she can.
I think it's, especially in the work side, it's very friendly. The customers are also very friendly, very appreciative of what you do. I love the atmosphere, that's why I'm still here. I've been working here for 2 years. I'm a uni student and I come back in my holidays to work here because everyone's so nice to me. It's like a big family, let's say. I would recommend the food 100%, and it's all locally sourced as well, so everything is great.
Banbury Hill Farm stands today because the family chose to share their home with others, and in doing so, they created something far greater than a destination. They created a community, a place where visitors become friends, friends become family, and every return feels like coming home. The future will bring new ideas, new faces, and new memories, but the heart of this place will never change, because Banbury Hill Farm isn't defined by its fields or its facilities, it's defined by the people who fill it with life.